Hello everybody and welcome back to Bring Your Own Popcorn. Welcome to another first time watching video. And in today's video I'll be watching and reviewing the final installment in the franchise that I've been going through on the channel. It feels like I've been going through this franchise for absolutely ages, probably because it has been ages. I think I uploaded my review of the first film in this franchise probably about a year and a half ago. So it's taken me a while to go through this franchise on the channel. But finally, we are at the last film, the sixth and final film in this franchise, until the new one gets released, which I believe is next year. So today we are going to be watching and reviewing Alien Covenant. I'm actually fairly excited to watch this one. I didn't like Prometheus very much, and I believe this is a direct sequel to Prometheus. But I just hope that it delves a little bit more into the aliens' backstory, because for a origin film, which Prometheus was, we got very little origin. We just got a lot of rubbish, basically, in my opinion. Basically, pretentious crap. So I really hope that we delve a little bit more into the aliens' origin in this movie. However, sadly, I haven't heard the best things about this film. I believe it got very, very mixed reviews, with the reviews verging more on the negative side than the positive side. So I'm nervous because this is the one that people consider to be the bad one, and Prometheus is considered to be fairly liked, and yeah, that's what makes me nervous. If this is the bad one, how bad is this going to be? So without further ado, let's crack on and watch Alien Covenant. Okay, let's take the Blu-ray off the shelf and let's read the description to Alien Covenant, again directed by Ridley Scott, which would normally fill me with some hope, but the fact that he directed Prometheus does... Well, to be fair, Prometheus looked amazing, but it just wasn't the best story. Bound for a remote planet on the far side of the galaxy, the crew of the colony ship Covenant uncovers a deadly threat beyond their imagination and must attempt a harrowing escape. It sounds like the description for every single Alien film, but nevertheless, I'm excited to check this one out. Okay, so there's the disc. Let's pop it out and put it into the player. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Here we go. Okay, so I've got the DVD all booted up. I'm ready to go. Fairly excited for this one. I'm honestly just excited to be done with the franchise. I'm always excited when I watch the final installment in something. But I have heard mixed things about this movie, so I'm slightly nervous for it, especially because people say that this is the bad one and that Prometheus is the good one. So if I didn't like Prometheus, what am I going to think of this? But let's crack on and watch Alien Covenant.
Okay, baby, just calm down, sweetheart, calm down.
Tell me to calm down.
You're breaking up.
All of this is to start our new life. Where is it?
Okay, I just got done watching Alien Covenant for the first time, and I have finally finished all 6 Alien films. I cannot believe it's taken me this long to get through all these films, but I think the real reason why it's taken me so long is, out with the first 2 films, which I watched quite close together, the other 4 are just fairly average movies. There was nothing really drawing me to them. And this one is no exception. I thought this was just an above average movie. I thought it was fairly decent, but it was nothing spectacular. I will say though, out with Alien and Aliens, because those 2 films are just on a whole other level, this has probably been my favourite of the franchise, and I know that's probably pretty controversial to say. The film was just a fairly fun runaround movie, and it is just what you expect from the Alien franchise at this point. In terms of plot, it isn't really anything special. It is exactly what you expect from an Alien film. People arrive at this planet and start getting killed by aliens. That is basically the full plot of this movie. I would be lying, however, if I said I didn't have some degree of fun with it. This one, whilst being a direct sequel to Prometheus, ditched the entire pretentious nature that film has. And it just provided a fun and sometimes scary alien hunting down people flick. It's almost going back to its roots, like how the first Alien film handles this story. And I'm not saying for a second that this film deals with this stuff as well as the first Alien film, but it is... Prometheus went in an entirely new direction and it didn't work for me. So coming back to the roots, I think, was the best thing for this franchise to do. I really actually liked how gory this one was. It is probably the most brutal of the franchise, and I really loved how gory and bloody they made this film. I did think that the first 45 minutes of this movie was very boring. Nothing really happens, and only when they arrive to the planet is when the film starts to get a little bit more enjoyable. There was some horrendous, cringy dialogue in this film. Like, I don't know what they were thinking when they were writing some of these lines. They were absolutely horrendous. And I think that the group of characters that this film focuses on is easily the least interesting group of characters out of any of the Alien films. None of their personalities are, bar maybe a few characters, none of their personalities are actually explored. They are honestly just throwaway characters for these aliens to kill, and that's where most of the enjoyment comes from this film, is watching these aliens hunt down their prey. So yeah, I do think this film had a fairly decent script, but it was nothing special by any means. Direction-wise, I thought the film looked pretty good. It is no surprise that the film looks good because Ridley Scott is a talented director. All of his films, I think, are absolutely gorgeous to look at. The man just seems to constantly go back and forth on the quality of the scripts he directs. He'll direct this really groundbreaking and fantastic film with this amazing script, and then his next film will be this film with just a really average script, and yeah, it just goes back and forth a lot. However, and this is a surprise to me, because I really didn't like Prometheus, but I'm actually going to praise Prometheus here a little bit. In terms of the way this film looks, I actually think it's a step down from how Prometheus looks. I thought Prometheus, is that a word? Anyway, I thought Prometheus cinematography and effects were just absolutely gorgeous. And whilst the effects and cinematography here are good, they are definitely a step down in production quality. Overall, however, I still think the film looked amazing. As I said, I loved how brutal and fun the kills were in this movie, and I thought they were filmed excellently with some really, really nice effects. Overall, really great direction in this one. In terms of performances, I thought that the cast was doing a pretty decent job. It's just a shame that none of the characters were that interestingly written. Whenever Michael Fassbender is on screen, whether he is playing David or Walter, because he plays two characters in this film, he completely steals the show. He manages to give both his characters very different personalities, which is a very difficult thing to do, especially when you're playing... They're both very similar characters, but you can still differentiate between both of them very easily. Another show stealer for me was Danny McBride as Tennessee. His character was the only one of the crew I actually thought was pretty well explored. His personality was shown a little bit, and I thought McBride handled this pretty excellently. Sadly, Catherine Waterston had no real screen presence in this film and was a rather boring and anticlimactic leading lady, especially if you start comparing her to the leading ladies in these films that have come before, like the incredible Sigourney Weaver, who led 4 of these films and gave consistently great performances. As for everyone else, their performances range from pretty average to fairly decent, but it's just a shame that none of these characters are written interestingly. I don't actually blame the actors because they weren't given the best characters. Overall, Alien Covenant was a fairly fun time. It provided some cool kills and was a nice run-around sci-fi horror flick that passed the time. However, I do wish that a little bit more thought was just put into these Alien sequels. I think that every single film after Alien and Aliens had the potential to be great, just not a lot of thought was put into them. Who knows, maybe they've corrected this, maybe they've put a lot more thought into Romulus, which releases next year. However, this one still gets my recommendation, especially if you just want to throw a film on just to watch an alien hunt down people in a fun manner. I would give Alien Covenant a 6 out of 10. So in terms of a ranking of these films, my ranking has changed so much from my initial reviews because obviously my opinion is going to change. When I do these reviews, it is my first opinion. I finish the film and then I shoot the review. It's immediately once the film's done, I give my opinion on it. So over time, they are obviously going to change. So I'm going to give a really quick ranking from worst to best of the Alien franchise. Coming in at last place is Prometheus. With time passing, this one's actually got worse in my head. It is so pretentious. It is just a bad film, in my opinion. It's pretty bad. Coming in next place is Alien 3. Yeah, nothing special here. A really bad cast of characters, in my opinion. The first half is incredibly boring, but the second half picks up a bit and it's just a fun little time. Coming in next place is Alien Resurrection. I actually had a decent time with this one. It played almost like a B movie. It wasn't taking itself very seriously, and I do think that these Alien films should take themselves seriously to a certain extent, but as just something to have on in the background and just not really be focusing on it and just enjoying the fun kills and the stupidness of it, I actually quite enjoyed it. Coming in next is Alien Covenant, which I just gave you my thoughts on. In runner-up place is Aliens. I did like the action aspect to this, but in first place is the original Alien film. I do think it is probably one of the scariest films ever made, and I just think it's absolutely fantastic. So thank you guys for watching this video. Let me know down in the comments what you think of Alien Covenant, and maybe rank the full Alien franchise if you can. I love to read your comments, and I try to respond to every single one of them. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, all that jazz, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.